Hello, everyone. This is Steve Palladino with Palladino Power Project, and I'm bringing you another video, this time about running effectiveness and how to use the SuperPower Calculator to get your running effectiveness value from your data. But first, just a little bit of background on running effectiveness. Running effectiveness I think is one of the most important metrics besides power itself in running with power analytics. Running effectiveness is essentially a mathematical formula, a ratio of speed in meters per second divided by power in watts per kilogram. So speed divided by power is running effectiveness. And what it is how effectively one converts power to speed. So someone with a higher running effectiveness is more effective at getting speed from the same unit of power as someone who has a lower running effectiveness. So it's pretty important. It's how you translate power into speed, or back to our speed back to power. There's a lot of different ways of looking at it, but it's a very key metric in understanding the type of how fast you're going for your given power. So running effectiveness is a really important metric in my mind, as I said. The problem with running effectiveness is it's not universally available. I mean, we're more or less still somewhat in the infancy of running with power movement, and you can't get it everywhere. So you can get it on WKO. I've written a couple of different reports and charts that allow you to track running effectiveness. And there's others, but I have some on WKO. I share my WKO4 charts on my Facebook group, Palladino Power Project, in the file section. Golden Cheetah, I believe you can get it there. You could also get it in today's plan, although they call it something different, but it's they may call it power to speed ratio, which is an error. It should be speed to power ratio. But you can get it for analyzing segments or whole run running effectiveness. Runalyze has running effectiveness, but it only supplies it for the whole run. It doesn't give you the segments. So, for example, if you went out and did two 10-minute tempos within a 40-minute run, you couldn't analyze those 10-minute tempos individually. You just get the running effectiveness for the whole run. That may be changing in the future, I don't know, but as of December in 2019, it's not. You can also even get running effectiveness as a real-time metric on your watch with like a Garmin IQ app. For example, the Run Power Garmin IQ app allows you to display running effectiveness in real time if you want to have that. But for Stride users, Garmin users, or Garmin Power users, no, it's not available on Garmin Connect. It's not available on Power Center. It's not available on platforms like Final Surge. And off the top of my head, I can't tell you whether it's on Training Peaks. I don't believe it is. So it's missing from a lot of commonly used applications and platforms, but it is available on these with the limitation that I spoke of for Runalyze. So with that little background, what I want to do now is go into the SuperPower Calculator and show you how you can go to your power center and select certain segments and analyze those for running effectiveness and other metrics in the SuperPower Calculator. SuperPower Calculator, I'll provide a link to how to get to that in the notes for this video. And I'll also provide a link for a article that I've written called Understanding Running Effectiveness and Its Uses. I'll put that link in there as well. But back to the SuperPower Calculator. What you do is they have a lot of different functions within the SuperPower Calculator, and you want to pick the function that says Calculate Power Metrics, RE, Horizontal Power Ratio, Leg Spring Stiffness per kilogram, CVI, for up to 10 completed activities. And by activities, it doesn't necessarily have to be an entire run. It can be segments of a run as well. So you select that, and the way SuperPower Calculator works is anything yellow is a required data entry field, blue is optional, and green is your outcome. In this case, for entering activities, if you are entering in watts per kilogram, you do not have to enter your weight here. But if you're entering in raw watts, as I'm doing, you need to put your stride weight, your power meter weight setting in here to calculate this. Because remember, running effectiveness, watts per kilogram is the denominator. So what we go to after we put the weight in, we'll go in and we're going to enter power, time, and distance. Power, time, and distance, and that'll give you give you your running effectiveness. Let me show you how to get that from your power center. So this is a file that I took off of Facebook. It's a marathon file. And this is the entire marathon. And you can see that for this runner, I know the runner is 68 kilograms. This is the time, the data file, time. There's the average power. There's the distance in kilometers. Obviously, that's wrong if the runner, unless the runner did a lot of running off of the blue line and didn't run tangents, et cetera, that may be off a little bit. But we take those three numbers and we'll pop them into the SuperPower Calculator. 235.5, 331.10, and 43.37 kilometers. Now, notice there's toggles. I could enter things in meters or miles or even feet. In this case, I'm choosing kilometers. So I enter that in, and the running effectiveness for the total run was 0.988. That's actually very good. It may have something to do with this. But here's another thing I'm going to do. I'm going to show you segments, how to select segments. Now, if you look, it looks like running along here, nice, even, and you get to this point, and right about here, power starts tapering off. So we're going to say, okay, what happened between the first part, before that, and then after? Well, here's how you do it. You come over here. I'm going to right click and hold. So the right click and hold, I'm going to drag all the way out here, lift my finger off of that right clicker button, and here's what we get. For that, we get 2 hours, 21 minutes, 31 seconds, 240.2, 29.68 kilometers. I've pre-entered those, and for that we get a running effectiveness of 0.90. Okay, so now we're going to go back to show all. So what we're seeing here is that first 29.68 kilometers. We're going to click back to show all. We're going to come back to about that same spot right there, and we'll swipe the last part. Now we have 109.20, 225.8 watts, 13.61 kilometers. And I think I've got that pre-entered as well. And so in that last segment, the running effectiveness dropped off to 0.985, 0.985 as their running effectiveness. So there was some tail off with this segment in that last roughly 13 kilometers. So this last segment, not only did power drop, but running effectiveness dropped. And that can happen. Let me go to the PowerPoint. And I'm just going to just cover this briefly. Running effectiveness is not a static number. It's going to vary. It's going to vary from individual to individual, but for within that individual, for you, you're going to find that it's going to change with hilliness or grade. Uphill is going to be a lower running effectiveness. Downhill is going to be a higher running effectiveness. A flat run is going to be a higher running effectiveness than one that has a lot of up and down in it. Wind, if you have the wind pod, headwind is going to be lower running effectiveness. Tailwind, higher running effectiveness. You'll find that if you're running faster, higher relative intensity, let's say you're doing 1K intervals, that running effectiveness for those at, say, 5K effort, 1K intervals at 5K effort, that running effectiveness is going to be higher than what you see on your slow, easy recovery zone 1 type runs. So it's going to vary that way. It also varies with fatigue. I've already demonstrated that as you fatigue, running effectiveness can tail off. Running effectiveness also can vary by stride version. If you have the non-wind stride version, your running effectiveness is going to be higher than if you're doing exactly the same thing with a wind version of stride. It'll be lower. Same thing, if you're using a stride, say a stride non-wind version versus a Garmin power or RunScribe power or what have you, those are going to be a bit higher. They report higher by maybe 20, 25, 30% in that range. So for those latter power meters like Garmin or Polar or RunScribe, they're probably going to be higher power, which means lower running effectiveness. So your running effectiveness using that will be lower than if you were using a stride. And then the same thing with the stride wind version, because it adds in air power or the power to overcome air resistance outside. If you're running exactly the same speed, you're going to find that you use more power to achieve that because you have air resistance outside than if you're on the treadmill. And so consequently, running effectiveness is going to be lower outside than on the treadmill at similar effort, similar speed. So running effectiveness varies. You got to understand that it's not a static thing, and yours is going to be different than the next guys or the next ladies. So understand that, read the article, but let's go back and look at another case with the SuperPower Calculator. So I'm just going to do another runner. This is a runner where the runner's weight is 51.7 kilograms, and the power for this runner was a actual progressive tempo workout, and the time was 36:04 for that 10.0 kilometers, and for that this runner's running effectiveness is 1.034. This is with a non-wind stride pod. So there you have it, running effectiveness, how to get your data from your power center file and get a running effectiveness number. Now, I'll just point out this video is primarily about running effectiveness, but I will point out that it can also give you, if you enter your form power, your leg spring stiffness, it will calculate your horizontal power ratio and your leg spring stiffness per kilogram, which are not provided on Power Center as well. So it gives you more than just running effectiveness, but the running effectiveness is one of the key metrics to follow. Hopefully this is helpful for you and gives you a few insights on running effectiveness. Thank you for watching the video. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.